Gotham Knights is here, and honestly, I was looking forward to it for a very long time. In fact, I did a video talking about my top 10 most anticipated upcoming games, and that game was on the list, but it got delayed, and honestly, it probably should have been delayed again. I mean, the game is just not ready. Now, it is true, Gotham Knights does run better on PC, but that's not saying a lot. Unfortunately, consoles are limited to only 30 FPS, and we're talking about current generation consoles. I'm not talking about last generation hardware with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. No. I'm talking about the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. And 30 FPS on that level of hardware in 2022? That is beyond pathetic and absolutely unacceptable and inexcusable. In fact, I don't even blame the consoles for this. It's not like the hardware isn't capable. I blame the developers. This is obviously lazy and plain out poor development. And that will become apparent as we start talking about the benchmarking numbers. Now, speaking about benchmarks, let's talk about a few different house cleaning options really quickly. So first and foremost, ray tracing. I did not benchmark ray tracing in this game because honestly, it's broken. Gotham Knights does have ray tracing, DLSS, XESS, and FSR 2.0, but ray tracing is broken. It doesn't matter the resolution, it doesn't matter the game settings, it doesn't matter if you're using DLSS or DLSS quality versus performance, none of that matters. If you turn on ray tracing in this game, you are stuttering everywhere. It is not a smooth experience, it is not really enjoyable, and even when the frames say above 60 FPS, you're still stuttering. It's just not enjoyable at all. And for that reason, I do not recommend using ray tracing in Gotham Knights, at least not at this time, and I did not benchmark ray tracing in Gotham Knights. And just to be clear, let's talk about the benchmarking hardware that I have over here. So I'm using an AMD Ryzen 5800X and an NVIDIA RTX 3080, and everything is running in a custom liquid cooling loop. And on top of that, I have 32 gigabytes of Corsair Dominator RAM running at 3600 megahertz. So yeah, my PC may not be the best of the best of the best at this time, but it's still not a low-end PC by any means at all. So the fact that the game is struggling even on this level of hardware really should be a red flag to a lot of people. And now let me share my settings with you on the screen right now. This is what I'm running exactly for the benchmark for 4K highest, 4K high, and 4K medium. And make sure your settings match this if you have similar hardware and you're wondering why your numbers are a little bit different than mine. Okay, so first up are the 4K benchmarks. This is raw rasterization with no ray tracing and no upscaling of any kind. And the game has a highest preset instead of an ultra. And as you can see, we have an average frame rate of 75 FPS with the 1% lows of 42 FPS. And when we look over at the high preset, the average frame rate is 74 FPS with a 1% low of 40 FPS. So the 1% lows got even worse, even though we just lowered the in-game settings. And finally, for 4K medium settings, we have an average frame rate of 81 FPS with 1% lows of 42 FPS. So it seems like no matter what we do here, if it's at 4K, the 1% lows don't really seem to improve at all, regardless of the in-game settings, and that is definitely an issue pointing to game optimization. And now we switch over to 1440p. Again, no ray tracing and no upscaling of any kind. And using the highest preset, we have an average frame rate of 79 FPS with the 1% lows of 41 FPS. And with a high preset, we have an average frame rate of 77 FPS with the 1% lows of 37 FPS. And with the medium preset, we have an average frame rate of 80 FPS with a 1% low of 38 FPS. Now, this should already be enough evidence to prove that this game has terrible optimization. The fact that we're going from 4K down to 1440p, and we're even going from the highest preset down to the medium preset, and the frame rate differences are minimum at best, it screams poor game optimization. What is the point of having different in-game settings or different game resolutions if when you change the settings and the resolutions, nothing really changes? Your performance doesn't improve at all, not really. And with 1440p, the 1% lows are even worse. How does that happen? And if that's not enough evidence for you, then check this out. 1080p no ray tracing, and no upscaling of any kind, the highest preset shows us an average frame rate of 82 FPS with 1% lows at 38 FPS. The high preset shows us an average frame rate of 81 FPS with 1% lows of 38 FPS. And the medium preset shows us an average frame rate of 84 FPS with 1% lows of 43 FPS. Now, again, this is 1080p and you're talking medium settings here on a 3080 and 5800X liquid cooling system. Sure, the overall frame rate and performance is still better than a console, so PC is the place to play and that's why I game on PC, but the fact remains, these developers, Warner Brothers Montreal, should have done a better job with game optimization. And finally, I want to talk about the upscaling technologies in this game. So let's talk about DLSS versus FSR versus XESS. 4K, no ray tracing, highest settings available. DLSS quality gives us an average frame rate of 79 FPS with 1% low of 41 FPS. DLSS balance gives us an average frame rate of 82 FPS with a 1% low of 41 FPS. And DLSS performance gives us an average frame rate of 75 FPS with a 1% low of 36 FPS. And DLSS Ultra Performance gives us an average frame rate of 70 FPS with 1% lows of 37 FPS. If we switch over to FSR and we look at the quality preset versus the performance preset, we can see that quality gives us an average frame rate of 74 FPS with 1% lows of 38 FPS. And FSR performance gives us an average frame rate of 70 FPS with the 1% lows of 36 FPS. And lastly, if we switch over to XESS quality, we can see we have an average frame rate of 69 FPS with a 1% lows of 36 FPS. And with XESS performance, we have an average frame rate of 71 FPS with 1% lows of 36 FPS. Well, as you can see, this game is nothing short of terribly optimized. And it's incredibly sad to see because the Arkham games are phenomenal, even to this day. And I understand these games are not the Arkham games. I get all that. But look, at the end of the day, you can't go into Gotham Knights not thinking about Batman, not thinking about the Arkham games. And also, don't forget, Warner Brothers Montreal did make an Arkham game. It's called Arkham Origins. A lot of people regard it as the worst Arkham game, but they did make it and it was fairly decent, even though it was buggy. Gotham Knights, in my opinion, has so much potential, or had so much potential, because I don't really know what they're gonna patch at this point, what they're gonna fix, what they're not gonna fix, what they're gonna add and not add. But this game has a lot of issues, and performance is just the start of it. But all in all, maybe you don't care about any of this. Maybe you're still buying it. So are you buying it? Let me know in the comment section down below if you're picking up Gotham Knights. And if you like seeing benchmarks like this, then another game that's coming out, well, in about 3 days is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Well, at least the multiplayer portion. The campaign came out this week. So if you want to see how that game is going to run, check out this video right here where I benchmarked the beta using the exact same hardware, and you'll know what to expect if you have similar hardware to me. Well, hey, thank you so much for checking out my video. I always appreciate your time. Leave a comment, even if it's just a simple hello, something like that, okay? Hit the like button for me because it goes a long way in helping me out. And until next time, E-Rock out.